Welcome to the session we're organizing about smart offices. We are going to tell you more about how smart offices are evolving and how important they are for business. My name is Philippe Urbain. I am Managing Director for the go-to-market of digital workplace and customer experience in NTT DATA for Europe, and I'm joined by Oru. Oru, can you please introduce you?
Yes, of course. I'm Oru, Research Director at IDC. I focus on collaboration and digital workspace.
I propose we move on immediately with the first question to set the scene a little bit. Oru, how do you see smart office? What is smart office for you?
So for me, smart office is an intelligent workspace. It serves the benefits of employers and employees equally. It has certain characteristics such as it is adaptive, responsive, personalized, and even environmentally friendly. What I want to stress on here is that smart offices go beyond just the look and feel of an office. What it is it has technology at the very heart of it, and technology is all pervasive. And what happens is that you have technology and it's all highly connected. So that is what gives smart office the characteristics that I have described.
Absolutely.
So now that we know what smart office is, and we will be talking more about it, but can you tell us at this point, what are the key drivers of smart office?
There are many, but I think we can focus on the five biggest ones. The first one is employee satisfaction. I think that's the central element of everything. The well-being, but also I would kind of call it happiness of the employee to come back to the office. It should not be a mandate. They should be happy to come to the office. Yeah. It's of course also bringing all the technology at hand for them to be able to collaborate and be more productive. If we then look at the employer side, it's very much focused on costs, resources optimization. I mean, it has been at the center for years, but now it's certainly. And closely linked to that, everything related to the sustainability impacts, where we all have challenges by 2030 to deliver. So that's the five main ones that we see.
So basically, Philippe, what you have said, to put it in the real world context, we are living in a rapidly changing world, and how we work is also evolving. So offices will need to upgrade in order to be fit for that purpose.
Oh, let's deep dive now in how to create smart offices.
Right. So I will just pick up from what I have mentioned about whether offices are now fit for purpose. So let me put some context, because I did say that the way we work is evolving. So that means that people now have the choice of space. They can work from home, they can work from the office, and they can do both. But each space has its own unique benefit. So what is the benefit of coming to the office? And the first and foremost benefit is this is where people come to collaborate. So office spaces are taking on a more social aspect. You go there to brainstorm with your colleagues. You go there to ideate with your colleagues. So that means that the office spaces will have to be able to cater to the meeting needs. And when we talk about meeting needs, it can be a wide range of meeting types. It can be small meeting, medium-sized meeting, large meetings. But offices will have to be able to cater to that. But interestingly, the offices that we have are still not well equipped to do that. Only 7% of the offices that we have surveyed have meeting spaces. So incorporating these collaborative spaces is becoming an important part of office redesign.
On top of that, I would like to highlight the fact that the way offices are organized should be different from the pre-COVID period. Pre-COVID, we saw 70% desks, 30% meeting rooms, which was perfect. Today, you just said it, people are coming to the office for meeting, collaboration, not for administrative tasks. So we should go to 60-70% meeting rooms and collaborative spaces and 30% desks, no more. Now, that's the organization. So next to that, you have a number of elements that are important technology-wise. Bringing people back to the office. You need to give them technology and tools. The first big tool or app that I would like to mention is the fact that people need to be able to book a desk, a parking space, a charging bay, a meeting room, etc. In the recent study that IDC published, we also see that this is 50% of the needs that were mentioned as priorities. Giving tool easy to use so that employees don't have something like, I need to find how to do this, and they're not using the technology. The second element is meeting rooms. When you have a meeting with 4 or 5 people, there is always someone working from home. You need to work with immersive systems so that the person sitting at home doesn't feel like I'm just sitting outside of the room and nobody thinks about me. We need to make sure that there is a parity in the tools and visibility of all the parties. And then lastly, well, we can't skip AI. AI is all over the place. So we need to give the necessary productivity tools to the employees to work in the most efficient way. And there are a variety of tools. We're not going to go in deep dive. It's out of Smart Office, but certainly it should be part of the possibility for them to have it at hand wherever they work.
Absolutely. And I also want to add another point to that, and that is from the perspective of building management. There are also some benefits from there. For example, you're able to automate energy consumption. You can control light, temperature based on room occupancy. You can also monitor and control the air quality, and this has become very important after COVID. And then also having diagnostic facilities where something in the building goes wrong, there's instant notification, and then you can take measures accordingly. So that also fits into Smart Office. It's not just about collaboration or employee productivity. There is a much broader story weaved into that, and that is building management.
And let's not forget the sustainability element. We see clients who save up to 30% of space thanks to the measurement of occupancy, availability of rooms, etc. 30% of building space saving, its costs, of course, but it's also the impact on sustainability that's huge. So that's certainly also something to take into consideration.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that brings us to the next point where we wanted to talk about ROI. And I think, cost optimization, being able to bring energy costs down is one of the ROIs. And then the other one that you mentioned as well is driving utility of space, where you're driving space productivity by making sure that it is properly utilized. And the third thing is when you have a better environment, let's say better air quality, less people will get sick. So you will be saving on less people taking, off sick days. So there are several benefits in terms of ROI. So we've talked about what a Smart Office is, what are the benefits, but then let's go to the more practical side of things. Where do you actually start modernizing your office? What is the starting point for a Smart Office?
A very good question, Oru. And the thing is that you rarely have two identical clients. Every business, every company has another way where they are and what they want to achieve. So we mostly start by doing an assessment with our clients. Where are they? Where do they want to be? What are the challenges that they're facing? And then define with them where to go. We take into considerations elements next to, I would say, purely the building. It's like networking, security, cloud and data center. Where are they? How robust and modernized has this been? Because we rely on this foundation to build a Smart Office. So that's the first step of what we do. We do that in a vendor agnostic way. We don't go up to that level. And then we start thinking with them how to approach. we always propose them to work in a phased approach. The big bang, we do everything at once, is something where we're not too convinced. So a phased approach can be refresh a few meeting rooms, it can be refresh one floor, it can be one building on a campus. There are different approaches, and that's what we're discussing with them. The reason why we don't want to go for the full approach is that when you go into those elements of, for example, integrating with a building management system, you are facing quite some challenges. Mostly our clients are renters of a building. They're not landlords. Landlords own the building management system, so you already start to integrate on another platform owned by somebody else, but mostly also used by other companies in the same building. And then data sovereignty, data security, all this is making it difficult. So we prefer to go for a phased approach where we build what we call a minimum viable product, which takes into consideration visitor management, desk booking, loading bay and parking space booking, smart lockers, the meeting rooms that we discussed, tracing when people are in, where they are, how much they used the desks, how the meeting rooms were used, and digital signage. I think this covers about 80 to 85% of the needs of a client to start with. And then in phase 2, we can go to the more complex elements where we go to building management systems.
So now moving on from there, what are NTT's unique offerings? What is its unique strength in helping businesses modernize their office space?
Well, the first element I would like to mention is that we have long-standing experience in everything which is meeting rooms, networking, and so on. Secondly, we are what I would call a full stack partner. So we can advise a client going from the network, security aspects around smart office and so on, the cloud connectivity, and everything which is digital workplace. We can do this design phase, guide them, but also guide them afterwards. We can help them to understand all the statistics and the data that the smart building will generate, because that's in fact the big value. It's understanding how the building is used and exploiting those data, and that's one of the big elements that's coming out. And that's why we believe that NTT DATA has a unique opportunity in there. As I told you, we've built some of those minimum viable products or packages, which we can also easily explain to them. Now, it sounds all very easy, but there is one element I would like to come back. It's some of our clients have something like, it's all fancy and smart and it's good, but it's all connected. What happens resilience-wise if the network goes down, the electricity falls out, or even worse, we are attacked under a cyber attack? What's happening then?
And that's a very good point, because we're talking about connectivity and, all the magic it can do, because it does sound magical, right? But then if one part breaks, everything comes to a standstill, your operation is disrupted, and you can't really afford that. So when we talk about smart offices, we also need to think about backup measures. You have to natively integrate the security aspect of it. And when you're relying on the automated process, you should also have manual backup. So if it is facial recognition, it shouldn't just be facial recognition. You should also be able to manually sign in just in case that does not work. But another important aspect is where you're able to notify your employees to work from home in case something in the office is not working and the premises shut down. So the backup measures should have been or should be an inherent part of office redesign. And that's how you can tackle when something breaks down.
Oh, you talk a lot about smart, connected offices. When we talk about connection, I would like to highlight a question that we often get from our clients. And what if we lose a connection? What if we lose power? What if we are hacked? What's your advice there?
Yes, and that's a very important point. I mean, smart offices sound magical. It can do so many things. But what if one bit shuts down, everything comes to a standstill, and it disrupts your operation. So what do you do in that case? So while connectivity or connected office space is great, you also have to have backup measures, and some of it would be manual. So let's say if your facial recognition is not working, you should still have the option to be able to manually sign in. But overall, the security aspect, the backup aspect should be an inherent part of your office redesign.
Thank you, Oru. Very interesting. This brings us slowly to the end of this chat. We would like to thank you, and Oru, fantastic. Thank you very much. Please feel free, if you have questions, to reach out. Maybe a last tip before we shut down. When you talk about smart office, talk with all the parties within your organization. Talk with HR, talk with facility management, business unit owners, etc. Because it's doing this together and not in a silo that brings the success. Don't hesitate to reach out, and thank you very much.